One of the reasons that we might be experiencing back pain after prolonged periods of sitting is due to tight hip flexors and tight hamstrings. So I'm going to show you a three-dimensional stretch that's going to effectively stretch and lengthen the hamstrings. I'm going to combine that with active stretching, which is where we activate the opposite acting muscle to create lasting length. We're going to take a step back with the right leg. Now, the hamstring we're targeting in this exercise is the left and the left hamstring only. We're going to make sure the pelvis is squared and neutral. We don't want to have that pelvis rotated off to the side. We want to have that pelvis neutral and pointing straight forward. Now we can position the back leg slightly rotated out, a slight bend in the knee, whichever is the most comfortable for you, because we're targeting the leading leg only. We want to keep the back straight. So we're going to hinge at the hip flexors. So gently hug your shoulders back, keep the chest lifted. Remember, your neck is your spine. We don't want the head to tip forward. We're going to hinge at the hip joint, slowly coming forward until we feel that stretch on the back of the leading leg, the left leg in this case, and then we're going to squeeze the bottom and press the ball of the foot into the floor to come up. Now, the reason we want to press the ball of the foot into the floor as we squeeze that left glute is to activate the entire back chain of the leg, including the foot. When we walk, there is a connection between how we push off the ball of the foot and activate that glute. When we're not pushing off the ball of the foot and activating the glute, the hip flexors will dominate the movement and drag the leg forward. The hamstring reacts by tightening. So we're going to do 10 of these with the toes pointing straight forward. Let's go. Shoulders back, back nice and straight. Feel the stretch. Press the ball of the foot, squeeze the glute to come back up. Hinging at the hip, keeping the back straight. Now press the ball of the foot into the floor, squeeze that bottom and draw your torso back up. Let's go for 10. Ball of the foot glute, 2. Ball of the foot glute, 3. Ball of the foot glute, 4. Keep it going. Keeping that back nice and straight, making sure that we're not rounding the spine. Instead, we're lengthening that hamstring. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, I mentioned at the beginning, the hamstrings are three-dimensional moving muscles. So we don't want to just stretch them in this plane. So we're going to add some variation to that same exercise. For this next set, we're going to rotate the thigh at the hip joint slightly in. Now, this is important. Watch that you're not just rotating the ankle. We want that femur to rotate inwards, but still keeping that pelvis neutral. We don't want an inward rotation of the hip or the femur and the pelvis to just compensate for it. So we want that pelvis pointing straight forward. Exactly the same exercise, but we're varying the position of the hamstring. Tummy in, shoulders back, spine nice and straight, hinging forward. Let's go for 10. It doesn't really matter what we're doing with that back foot, whatever keeps you balanced. Remember, still pressing the ball of the foot, squeezing the glute to come back up. Let's do 4 more. Ball of the foot, glute to come up. 3, 2, and 1. Now for the third variation, we're going to rotate that thigh out. Again, we don't want the pelvis to follow this. So keep your pelvis nice and neutral. Chest lifted, spine straight, shoulders back, hinging forward. Press the ball, the foot, and squeeze the glute to come back up. Let's do 10. 1. Remember to push off the ball of that foot. 2. Remember to activate that glute. 3. 4. Keep the tummy in gently. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And 10. Let's go back to that first position, rotating the thigh so the toes and the knee are pointing straight forward. And you'll notice how much further you can go now, having rotated that thigh and done the exercise in various different positions, how much further you can go now. So let's go ahead and do that set of 10. Tummy in, back straight, hinging at the hip. Press the ball, the foot, squeeze your glute to bring you back up. That's 1. 2. 3. Making sure you're not rounding that spine. 4. Feeling the stretch down the back of the hamstrings. 5. 6. Remember, ball of the foot. 7. And glute. 8. 9. And 10. Bring it back up. Now, before you go ahead and do the other leg, I want you to notice the difference that you feel in the leg you've just worked on compared to the one that you haven't. So to test that, we're simply going to hinge at the hips with the feet in the same position. Back straight, pelvis tilting forward, hinging at the hip. And notice here, if you feel more resistance and stretch in the leg that was behind, the leg we didn't work on, than the one we've just worked on. Squeeze your bottom, come back up. Let me know in the comments if you notice a difference in the leg that we did the 3-dimensional stretch on compared to the other leg. So now you're going to take that video back to the beginning and you're going to repeat it, but on the other leg.